I'd like to call the meeting of the Willits City Council to order for February 25th. Could we all stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, can you call the roll, please?
Yes.
Strong.
Yes.
Madrigal.
Here.
Weinstein.
Here.
Everett.
Here. Front end of our meetings, we have public communications. Gives a chance for anybody in the community who wishes to address the council or the community on issues or thoughts that are not on the agenda for this evening. Please step forward, introduce yourself, and use 3 minutes judiciously. Anybody for public communications this evening? Yes, ma'am.
I'm here to make a public comment, and it is with regard to a matter on the agenda. My name is Jennifer O'Brien with Nearing O'Brien. I'm here on behalf of the Brook Trails Township Community Services Board, and you have item 4C on your consent agenda, and the Brook Trails Board would like to point out that...
Well, ma'am, we will give you an opportunity to speak at that when we
on
do
the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't clear that you were going to have a...
Yes, we will. We do
Okay.
take public comment on consent items.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else on public communication, not agendized items?
That'd be me. Can I give copies?
Sure.
Please, you guys, here, I'll give you one. I just let you pass them out.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
I don't know how many we need. Probably more. I'll just keep it going with you. If you got any extra, because Mike Smith, tenant at the Hawkeye area at the Willits Airport. You'll notice the undersigned, there's a list of people here that are the undersigned that, and I'll tell you, I was talking to a lot of people and people wanted to be part of the undersigned, and I limited this to people that are tenants at the airport or actively use the airport. So, otherwise there would have been a huge sheet, but I'll just read this thing to you. We, the undersigned, would like to address the Willits City Council and city staff. Back in early 2013, we verbally made a proposal that was put in writing June 2014. In a nutshell, the proposal said that we would do everything the current airport manager does, plus fix the hangar doors, clean the grounds, cut the grass, pour a new curb around the fuel island, to name a few. We would also fly the American flag every day, something the current airport manager refuses to do. The one condition is that you would allow us to take most of the money currently paid to the airport manager and let us put that money back into the airport. Projects would be approved by a point person at the city and carried out by us with no charge for labor. We believe this would put the airport firmly in the black and many physical improvements would be made. To our frustration, the proposal has been met with silence. There's no indication of moving forward by the city. This is not a complicated proposal, and I hope you guys understand we have a treasure trove of resources at the airport. We're all skilled, professional, experienced, good people that love our airport and want to lend a hand to make our airport a better place. Some of us have many years of experience dealing with the FAA and related matters. Others are experienced entrepreneurs, groundskeepers, electricians, welders, plumbers, and carpenters. We have all the skills and tools necessary to maintain and improve our airport. In the course of our careers, we have generated many contacts and resources that are invaluable to aviation endeavors. We do not believe or expect the council or staff to be experienced in aviation matters, but we are. If kept in the loop, these contacts and resources could have been tapped to simplify current affairs. This proposal idea has been floated around to many people, and not once have we heard that's a bad idea. So I'm asked, what gives? What's it going to take? Surely you don't prefer to throw good money after bad, all the while our airport sits stagnant. Please believe us, our intentions are good, and our feelings are sincere. Okay.
Thank you, Mike and
Thank you.
Atal, and you will be hearing back from the city.
I'm sorry?
You will be hearing back from the city.
Okay, thank you.
Victor Hansen, I just wanted to reaffirm Mike's position. You know, it seems like that would get it off of your plate, put it in Mike's hands and Dave's hands. They're not going to have the money. You guys will be saying, okay, you can do this or you can't do this. But I think it gets it out of your hands and it's a done deal then. And you don't have this headache all the time.
Thank you, Victor. Like I say, you will be hearing back from the city. I will follow up on this. Thank you. Do we have any other public comment this evening? Seeing none, move on to the agenda. And the first item, we're going to poll for a future date. Introducing Ms. Mendocino was not able to be here this evening. And the second item is a presentation by the Chamber of Commerce.
Right,
They have a presentation too, because okay. Not totally in the loop on this one, but I know some things you don't, so go ahead.
Honorable City Council, citizens of the Willits community. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Ron Moorhead. Presently, I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for allowing us to come and give you this short presentation on the update for the accomplishments and the future projects that the Willits Chamber of Commerce has underway. However, before I delve into that information, I want to introduce the volunteer board of directors that are here tonight. With the exception of one paid employee, the Chamber of Commerce, everything that the work that is accomplished by us at the Chamber, provided by volunteers. So I'd like to introduce the board, and if you would stand when I call your name. Carlene Horger. I'm afraid Rita Rowland is not here, and Diana Bell is not here. Lisa Epstein is not here. Unfortunately, they're all working. Chuck Persico is here, and our executive director, Lynn Kinley. Thank you. Thank you for your service and all your hard work. Our goal is that everything we do benefits our community. Everything from publishing and distributing maps, promotional and informational material to local residents and visitors, everything to show off what Willits has. We provide information to travel and tourist publications, as well as travel writers, event planners, travel groups, and the media in general. We produce, update, and distribute visitor packets for relocation for individuals that want to come here or are interested in coming here, as well as prospective businesses. And one we just recently located and helped locate here in Victor's building, the chocolate company. With the business aspect here in town, we give email alerts notifying businesses of potential threats. We work very closely with the police department and Chief Gonzalez on counterfeit bills being passed around, bad checks, email scams. We have a great program that individuals and businesses that receive something like that immediately call the office, and we can get the information out so more businesses don't become victims of that. We provide a lot of referrals to startups and existing businesses for request of assistance, everything in financing, accounting, location assistance, marketing, advertising. We've given presentations before the Mendocino County Leadership Group on tourism and the economic benefits of tourism. We recently helped, with the aid of the staff here at the city, produced and distributed notices to the restaurants regarding the Phase 3 water emergency and helping staff and customers better understand the issue that we were facing with the water situation. One of the things that we do out of our office is assist the Mendocino County Film Office, recently securing a commercial filmed here in Willits for General Electric. According to the Film Office, it projected financial impact of nearly $20,000 here in town. Of course, the bypass, we co-sponsored with the city of Willits, the Thriving After a Major Economic and Cultural Change Community Forum, which was a huge success. We had a lot of positive comments about that. Initiated grassroots meetings to begin that dialogue for preparations pre and post bypass. We've begun a dialogue to establish an identity here in Willits. All of you have probably heard a little bit about the Western Logging Victorian Vintage Railroad Vintage Willits building criteria such as fascias and paint schemes. We've explored additional new marketing techniques such as social media and new billboards along the highway, as well as radio and electronic media, the new electronic media marketing situation that's going on. We're looking into that. We certainly have helped our present businesses with participation in the National Small Business Saturday program, which highlights shopping locally. We work with the city of Willits, property owners and businesses to initiate and bring manufacturing. We work very closely with the property owners here to establish and understand what they have available so we can bring new business and industry here. Some of the events, of course, most of you know, the Local First hometown celebrations that pack Main Street. That's a wonderful thing that the businesses get together and accomplish that, and through the Chamber of Commerce. The Community Festival and Car Show, over 30 years that's been going on, and it's been a success every year. Brings a lot of people to town, brings a lot of individuals and a lot of pride to town as well. We partnered with Mendocino Winery out of Redwood Valley and Paint the Town Red program just recently to bring awareness to heart disease with women, and we also deal with work with the Cancer Society here in town too. And of course we co-sponsor the candidate forums. Really isn't as long as it sounds. We coordinate with the Willits News to produce the Discover Willits Guide. The thing is, we do a lot out of that little office down there. We work with the California Tourism Commission to help market Willits. And of course, we work with Visit Mendocino to promote Willits. Just a little bit as far as numbers are concerned. Last year, our office saw 7,826 personal contacts. That would be phone and personal visitors into our office. And you look at that in an average of 30 personal contacts per day out of that office, people seeking information about Willits. And we're there to give it to them and let them know how wonderful Willits is. The cost for a membership, relatively inexpensive. The average chamber membership is $180 per year. Now everything is a little different because each category of business has a sliding scale. But you figure that $180 per year, that's equivalent to 1 quarter-page ad in a newspaper. Pretty reasonable when you look at what the return on investment is. Now, we have just enhanced the value. And I'm going to go into some numbers first. Our website. Last year we had 1,100,000 hits to our website. We had 174,000 page turns, meaning people came and stayed and looked at what was going on. So this brings me to an introduction. It's kind of something that we call the front porch of our beautiful little town. And if you turn around, and if I can make this work, we are introducing a brand new, maybe, website. Let's see if I can go up here. Enlarge this. Yeah, I'm trying to get there. Come on.
Move a little arrow.
Yeah, move a little arrow. Right there. Phew. So this is our revamped website. Like I said, the front porch to Willits, we're hoping that people will feel that. working with a website design group that works solely with chambers. And we now present members and visitors with a completely new adventure for providing information about Willits. While I can only show you the home page at this time because it's not quite finished but ready to go, you can see that it's, it doesn't want to go, there we go. It will actually fill the page and we'll have lots of good graphics. Steve Eberhard was nice enough to allow us to use his wonderful photographs. And it's going to be very easy to navigate and get the information that people like and what they need to have. It's going to be easier to update with our calendar of events. It's going to be easier to expand for each one of our members. Basically, every active member, not only will they have the directory of business, they will actually be able to have a mini website of their own on our website. So it will help them do marketing in a way that has never been seen before. And we hope that more members and more businesses will take advantage of it. Sorry, it's not, the mouse is not moving around here. And we also, if you will see here, we'll page down if I can. Without a mouse pad, I guess the mouse doesn't like to work. So anyway, there will be many offers, areas of advertising. So individuals, businesses, maybe that'll work, huh? There we go. Down in this area there, don't call that phone number because that's not the right one. But anyway, we're going to offer our members new areas of advertising so that they will be able to reach hundreds of thousands of potential customers through the website. So we want the entire community to know that the Willits Chamber of Commerce has always and will support and encourage a sustainable and vibrant Willits. Now for a personal note. For over 30 years of being a volunteer with the Willits Chamber of Commerce, this evening I am announcing my retirement from the Chamber of Commerce. I have held many positions over the 3 decades. In the last many years as president, it's been an honor to serve this community and work with so many passionate individuals. I truly believe we've accomplished a great deal of good. Although Lisa Epstein was not able to be here tonight, she will be taking over the president position, and Lisa is the local State Farm Insurance representative here. She'll be taking over March 1st. Good luck. Bless you all. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I will try and answer them.
Well, first I would entertain anybody had any questions, but then I have something to offer myself here.
Yeah, the only thing just a technical question, who would be updating the website?
The office, our office will be, and we're looking at getting some volunteers to come in to help out and train. One of the board members has talked about maybe possibly being part of that. Who's going to keep it maintained is this company that we've hired that only does chambers. It's been wonderful to work with, and they've really given us a lot of direction. But they'll be handling everything. We spent a lot of money with this group to get this done, and we have a maintenance agreement with them that they will take care of anything that we can't do specifically.
But I mean, updates like, events coming up.
Our office will be doing a great deal. The beauty of this whole thing is we'll be able to allow service groups to go in and change and work on their part of the calendar. So it's going to be an interactive for individuals and businesses as well. So the businesses will have their own, as I said, mini website that they can go in and change the photographs and change offers and do those kinds of things in case a manager leaves and they bring in a new manager. The business itself can do that so it doesn't burden our office.
And will non-chamber members be able to put their events on the calendar?
Non-chamber members will be able to put their, not specifically put their events on, but can call the office, and the office would do that, yes.
Good.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a community calendar. We want everyone to be able to play in the game, but
Nice job.
certainly it's geared toward the membership.
Good.
Well, Ron, I had it, or some of us had a little inkling that part of this announcement might come this evening, and in recognition of your contribution to the community and specifically to the chamber, and in reference to this evening, we have a proclamation that we'd like to give you, and I'd like the opportunity to read it first. So, humor me for a second. This is a proclamation of the Willits City Council recognizing Ron Moorhead for his many years of service with the Willits Chamber of Commerce. Whereas Ron Moorhead has dedicated 33 years of his life to the Willits Chamber of Commerce, serving many years on the board of directors and 14 years as the board president. Through his selfless dedication and leadership, Ron has played a pivotal role in many accomplishments benefiting the greater Willits community. And whereas in 1990, Ron worked with local solar businesses to host the Solar Energy Expo and Rally, bringing Willits to the international distinction of being the first community in the United States to host an event promoting alternative energy, which led to the Willits becoming known as the solar capital of the world. And whereas recognizing a golden opportunity from the firestorm of interest created by Laura Hildebrand's book Seabiscuit, an American Legend, Ron worked with Ridgewood Ranch and the Mendocino County Museum to promote the Seabiscuit walking tours, followed by the Chamber co-hosting the West Coast premiere of Seabiscuit, a PBS documentary, and the hometown motion picture premiere of Seabiscuit, for which proceeds were donated for the construction of the new Frank R. Howard Memorial Hospital. And whereas under Ron's tutelage, the Willits Chamber of Commerce became the first chamber in the nation to become a member of the Business Alliance for Local Living Economics in 2006, which has provided invaluable tools to promote and support our local independently owned and operated businesses. And whereas out of his deep concern about the future of Willits upon the completion of the Willits Bypass Freeway, Ron led the effort to bring representatives from the Cloverdale community to Willits to share their experience and guidance on surviving and thriving in a post-bypass era. And whereas while these are just a few examples of Ron's unwavering dedication to our community, spanning more than 3 decades, his contributions have surely paved the way to a successful outlook for the greater Willits community. Now therefore I, Bruce Burton, Mayor of the City of Willits, do hereby extend our gratitude and deep appreciation to Ron Moorhead for his many years of volunteer service in the Willits Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and offer our best wishes for all his future endeavors. And Ron, I'd just like to add to that, you know, I always I've really enjoyed, specifically for me, the standout event of the year is the car show that the chamber puts on it down there, and you know, being another motorhead like you, it's really a great, you know, a great venue. It's a great event for the community, but that's just one of many. So this is a very deserved proclamation. I'm very proud to be able to offer this to you this evening.
Now you know where all this gray hair came from.
I didn't want to flash on you, that was my trouble.
I can paint a portrait if you'd like.
Got it?
Well, I would just like to
Thank you very
say,
much.
before, don't sit down yet, because we all have some things to say. Our families are actually 49er football buddies. I think that's where we first met, was watching the 49er games, you know, in the 80s. I think that was, but.
I'm not going to put a date on that for sure.
I just want to say that I wish you the best of luck for whatever comes next for you, but also you can rest assured that your work will be remembered well into the future, because you've done so much to improve our town that it's just going to keep going, like ripples. It's just going to keep moving out. You'll be missed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
We're good.
It's hard to imagine the Chamber of Commerce without Ron.
Well,
But I think he's still going to be a rep.
Maybe he'll just, hold on.
And thank you so much, Ron, for your work.
Thank you.
Okay, we shall move on then to an update on the city's emergency water supply project. And I know Rod's out of town this evening on Caltrans street improvement project
Complete Streets.
learning session, so maybe it's left to you.
It is. And it's just a brief update. Let's see. So the foundation for the groundwater treatment plant was poured last week, and it has to cure up for a couple of weeks. The construction of the metal building for the treatment plant portion of this project is due to start in 2 to 4 weeks. The contractor is Schultz Construction. And after that's done, the mechanical and piping will follow. And then we're also in the process of, making progress on the environmental permits with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on the emergency water project?
Just, is that, when you said permits from the Corps of Engineers, are we going to proceed with a EI, whatever, an environmental review to make it not only an emergency project? Or?
We will be pursuing that, but this particular permit is a 401 permit, I believe. And
So that's not the same thing,
Right.
but yeah. So that's going to take a while to gear up for that, I'm assuming.
yes.
You got it covered? Okay, well, we're going to move to the consent calendar. The first item, item A, is being pulled, which is the council minutes. I will pull item C because I think we have some public comment on that. So I would look for approval of the consent calendar for just item B, unless somebody wishes to speak to that.
I'll move.
I have a motion, I'm just looking for a second.
Second.
A motion, a second. Do we have anybody in the community that would like to address the item B?
And I just want to make a comment
Yes.
about it. This item is, you just have the agenda summary alone. I was anticipating receipt of a proposal from Coastland Civil Engineers yesterday. I did not receive that, so all I had to go on was a rough estimate of $44,000 for this contract. But the way this works is this is for inspection services, plan check, design review on the new medical office building at the new hospital campus. And it requires a level 3 OSHPD inspection, which is a certification level that our in-house staff does not have. So there was concurrence early on that we would be contracting out for those services. And as it turned out, one of the inspectors on the hospital project itself, who holds that level certification, is obviously qualified to do this inspection. And so there was pretty quick agreement on using Coastland because of that. So the costs associated with this, the contract is between the city and Coastland so that the city retains authority over the inspection services for projects within our jurisdiction. But the cost will be reimbursed by the foundation in full, and I have a written commitment to do that.
I understood that. Can I have a roll call vote then, please?
Yes. Councilmembers Johnson?
Yes.
Strong?
Yes.
Vanderbilt?
Yes.
Ornstein?
Yes.
And Burton?
Yes. So next, first I'd like to ask for a motion and a second. If we have a motion and a second on the next item, then we'll take public comment.
I'll move.
Second.
Second, is there any public comment on item C on the consent calendar?
There is. As I stated earlier, Jennifer O'Brien with Nearing O'Brien Brook Trails. And the Brook Trails Board wanted to make a comment on item C to the extent that the staff report and the 6th whereas clause state that there is an agreement in 2005 for a specific allocation. There is not such an agreement. We recommend that you request a copy of the alleged agreement from your staff, and if you have it, Brook Trails would love to receive it.
Thank you. Any other comments on item C? Any comments from legal counsel on this at this point?
Well, I will just say that staff wrote a letter to Brook Trails on, I think, December 15 concerning the construction defect that was found to exist 30 feet downstream from the partial flume meter. And that followed a November City Council presentation where there was a public presentation of that issue, and Brook Trails became aware of. And then, you know, the letter of December 15, it's my recollection that staff encouraged Brook Trails to submit recommendations if they had any, suggestions if they had any, and specifically to provide an engineering report signed by a registered civil engineer if it was their opinion that use of the effluent meter would result in an under measuring of flows to their detriment. And we didn't receive anything on that until I think last Friday. We received a letter from Don McEdwards, an engineer engaged by Brook Trails. And Mr. McEdwards basically said that using the effluent meter was not appropriate. He encouraged the use of the FLODAR meters. But we haven't had any, we've requested it, but haven't received any reliable data, in my opinion, from a registered civil engineer from Brook Trails that would suggest that the effluent meter is not accurate. And in fact, the city believes that it is, that it's the most accurate meter that we have, that there's a negligible difference between the influent meter and the effluent meter. Our engineers that we have retained, outside engineers, GHD in particular, has suggested that use of the effluent meter is appropriate under these circumstances. And my understanding is that staff installed 2 FLODAR meters for the purpose of determining whether or not there is a surcharge of the partial flume meter, and it was done for that purpose for confirmation of staff's determination that the influent meter was being surcharged and registering high. And so those FLODARs were installed, and in fact it confirmed that. And that the FLODAR meters are very, very, very close to the readings being provided by the effluent meter. And so it's also my understanding that the FLODARs were just used on a temporary basis to confirm the surcharging that's taking place and to compare those readings with the effluent meter, and that it's your public works director's recommendation that the city use the effluent meter on a permanent basis, or perhaps on repair of the problem with the existing influent meter. As far as Brook Trails' comment that we did not follow our contract to give them advance notice of this, this was not a purchase that the city just made. The city did not just go out recently and buy 2 FLODAR meters. It's my understanding that they existed, that the city owned these meters, and the city installed them without expense. No one has charged Brook Trails for these meters. They have been installed, they are existing city property, and they have been installed on a temporary basis to confirm the problem with our partial flume and to compare with our effluent meter.
Would you just, for the benefit of the community, when you refer to an effluent meter, that is not, correct me if I'm wrong, that is the meter which discharges the treated wastewater to the enhanced treatment ponds. It's not the meter which discharges to the stream. So It's gone through the mechanical treatment plant, and then as it is pumped into the primary treatment pond, it goes through this meter. Is that correct?
That's
and that's called the EE2. It's called an effluent meter, but it isn't actually the effluent that is being discharged to the environment. It's being discharged to the pond.
That's correct.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that people understood it wasn't a meter that is being sure. I'll take that comments in just a half a second. Do we have any other comments up here right now? Yes.
Denise Rose, Brook Trails General Manager. I just wanted to note that on December 19th, we submitted a letter to the city saying that we would submit an engineering report signed by a civil engineer subsequent to our person being allowed to inspect it, and we were relying upon the city to schedule that inspection because there were a lot of things going on in the city. We did not hear anything subsequent to that December 19th letter. That's why I sent the letter last week with what we did have, so you would know about it. The other issues that the district has with the current FLODAR and other issues are described both in the December 19th letter and the February 20th letter, and a few other letters. So.
Yeah, well, we received a letter, I received it at the dais this evening, dated February 25th. I believe we've received the latest correspondence this afternoon. So.
I would just add that I realize that this is a really fraught decision since litigation is pending, but the fact is that we need to continue to operate in the interim. And so why I read the concern that we're going forward with this prior to trial, the fact is that we need to continue to operate the system and budget accordingly. So.
Right. In the last sentence of this letter, the city's being accused of engaging in an ineffective pre-trial maneuver. It's not the case. We didn't plan the timing of this situation. The fact is, the city didn't learn about this construction defect until late in the summer or early in the fall, and we've been investigating solutions to it, and we're at where we are now. Didn't plan on raising this issue on the eve of trial. It's just, that's how it's worked out.
Well, so there's a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to get a clarification from what Mr. Bryan brought up. The 23.62% of the operating expenses number, is that, where is that documented? And because, I mean, to me, I see a very reasonable explanation for the attempt to correct the measurements, because we know that the influent meter is not measuring accurately, and so the FLODARs have helped us calibrate, and the effluent meter is accurate, and we've gotten that from several different sources, and the FLODAR was one of the things that Brook Trails actually recommended. So it seems like we're getting a bead on the measurements, which I feel very comfortable and relieved to see that that's happening. Is there some question about the percentage?
There is no formal agreement.
Okay.
My understanding is that in early 2005, January or early February 2005, your former city manager, Ross Walker, wrote a letter to Mike Chapman, general manager of Brook Trails, proposing that the parties use an agreed rate for some period of time at 23.62%. And that there was a response back from Mr. Chapman acknowledging that that was an appropriate thing to do. I'm not aware of any official action taken by the City Council or by Brook Trails to establish that rate. Instead, however, it's the rate that was used. And for a period of years, beginning in 2005, I understand, until 2013, I believe, that's the rate that the city charged Brook Trails and that they paid. So there's been a course of conduct between the parties for for about a 7-year period to use that temporary rate, even though there was no formal signed contract to that effect.
And do we have data that indicate the actual flow coming from brook trails compared with our best numbers on what the total influence, so that we know is that percentage pretty much in the ballpark for their share of the
That former percentage,
the 23?
That was based on either 3 or 5 years average
Right.
for the 3 or 5 years that preceded 2005.
Okay.
So the managers of both agencies agreed that it would be appropriate to use this averaged amount, and that's what was used.
That has not been consistent with what the meter has been reading since, the recent reading. If Brook Trails would mind informing me, what sort of meter do you use to measure your contribution to the system?
We have a partial flume,
That's what I thought.
and we just replaced it.
With another partial flume, or? Okay, thank you.
But our meter doesn't really come into anything. It's not used by you for any calculations with regard to.
I'm familiar with this.
Thank you.
So I do have a motion, a second. Is the maker of the motion and the second comfortable with their motion?
Yes.
And
Oh,
there
sorry.
any other further
Did you
public
second
comment?
I think I did.
I'd call a vote then, please.
Councilmember Strath?
Yes.
Strong?
Yes.
Radical?
Yes.
Bordenstein?
Yes.
Mayor Burton?
Yes. Thank you for your comments this evening. We're going to move on to, we have a list of informational reports. If anybody's interested in those, you're welcome to regard those. Rights to appeal. Persons are dissatisfied with the decisions of the City Council may have a right to review of that decision by a court. Cities adopted 1094.6 of the Code of Civil Procedure, which generally limits to 90 days the time within the decision city boards and agencies may be judicially challenged. Probably relevant again tonight. Do we have any city manager reports?
Yes. So the first thing I want to report on, and it has been reported already in the newspaper, is the initial study on the REACH project was released by the city last Friday. In today's Willits News, the requisite legal notice was in the paper, so today actually kicks off the 30-day comment period. Because our regular meeting on March 25th falls short of that 30 days, we've scheduled the public hearing for Saturday, March 28th, following our council workshop on the goal-setting process. And just to note that I sent that via email, and I did a very wide distribution of that document, including all of the interested parties that have expressed concerns about that. My second item is several updates on our water treatment system. The installation of the valve at Centennial was completed today. The cover on the clarifier has been installed. The inspection to close out the water treatment plant improvement project was conducted yesterday. And the flushing program, which hasn't been done since 2012, that will commence on Monday, March 9th, and should reach Main Street by Thursday, the 12th. Notices about that will be going out on the monthly bills, which are being mailed out on Monday. Let's see, our new legislative representatives, Senator Mike McGuire and Assemblyman Jim Wood, are both working to secure funding for water projects within their jurisdictions. And so to that end, we submitted a list of our priority projects, which in this order are the Main Street water line, the emergency water project, the unfunded portion, the 3 million gallon water tank liner replacement, and the Della Avenue water line.
I just want to add on that, speaking to the representatives.
I just ask if you wish to address it, bring it through thank you.
I just want to add to that I think we're in discussions with their representatives, our representatives. We appear to be the most sort of shovel-ready,
Right.
if not underway in those projects. So I think it puts us in a good position.
So specifically, Jim Wood is working on securing Prop 1 funding for the district, and Mike McGuire is working on, and I hope I have this in the right, it might be flip-flop. He's working on legislation to ease up the process of getting through a CDBG grant application. And I had lunch with our League of California reps last week. What we've learned is that so many of the smaller jurisdictions have just been so burdened with the CDBG grant process that they just have not pursued that at all. I shared again and had previously shared our experience with our grant application for CDBG. And apparently, all of these jurisdictions were having these challenges but weren't communicating it to the league. And so once they got wind of this, they scheduled a session where they could, a listening session. And so they've taken up this cause to, because, you know, it's money for small communities.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had a recent trip and fall on, actually it was Muir Lane. It was, I think, there was a letter in the newspaper about it being West Van Lane, but it was in fact Muir Lane in the general vicinity. And there have been concerns raised, and again at the town hall meeting on Sunday afternoon about those alleyways over there, and then we have some, you know, alleyway issues over behind our movie theater. Anyway, Rod went out and inspected the area where the trip and fall occurred, and he didn't find any significant potholes. She actually had tripped over a speed bump, so we're looking at what we can do in the pretty near future. You know, perhaps some reflective striping on the speed bumps, and looking at some other measures as well. But I just wanted to say that it's important that everybody remember that these are roadways, not pedestrian walkways, and so I think pedestrians need to exercise some judgment and caution as well. And then just a reminder that we have a grant application out to address our downtown alleyways, and we should be hearing back on that sometime in April or May, thereabouts. And then lastly, we've been notified that the skunk train has commenced their season early for the Willits line. Normally they wouldn't start that up again until May, but I think it might have started today. And, pardon me? Oh, okay. So Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays and Sundays, they'll be running the skunk train from Willits. And right now, the schedule's just published through March 17th, but it's expected that it will just continue on into the regular season.
Is it the single car or is it the train? The train. Thank you.
So this will be a great boon to our local businesses.
So I just wanted to clarify for the listening audience relative to the flushing, because, you know, we're in a water emergency situation, and you're going to see hydrants completely opened up and water flowing, and it could be a little bit of a head scratcher. The purpose of that is that over the course of time you get, and if I get this wrong, anybody feel free to correct me, over the course of time you'll get some sedimentation when the water's not moving in the pipe, settling out on the bottom of the pipe, and then when there is higher demand, it can scour the bottom of the pipe and bring that turbidity into your house. And so the purpose of flushing is to put a high volume of water flow through that pipe and carry those sediments out. And you know, they're done at strategic places to clear pipe that is problematic. And our water situation now is, our reservoirs are full and overflowing, so it really, we haven't done it in the last couple of years to protect water supply to the detriment of having some turbidity issues in the water, and we feel that it's a reasonably safe time to perform that, and that's why that's happening now. But you will see everybody's going to want to grab their pail and go grab water, because, you know, we wish we didn't have to do it, because we don't get to bill anybody for that water, doggone it, but we do need to do it. So that's the purpose of it. Yes?
Well, on that subject, are people going to expect to have some turbidity showing up in their water during that process too?
Yes, they could. There could be some
discoloration.
Right, and
Okay, so
the notices that are going out describe that and also offer up the remedy of What's it called, Kathy? The solution that people can get at the hardware stores? Rust out.
Okay, just one, that's another thing for people to be aware of, in addition to what's going to be in the notice, just, okay. And then Holly's been trying to.
Yeah, on skunk train.
Go ahead.
Do you know if the skunk train is just going part ways out, or are they going all the way to Northspur? Do we know? Northspur?
Ron, you had a
Yeah,
comment?
on Bruce's comment, I think it's important to point out as well, I don't remember the numbers, but I seem to remember hearing them the last time we had a flush, that the amount of water that's actually used in the flush is a very, very small percentage of the total. Would you happen to know anything about that?
Well, yeah, it certainly is for the,
I mean, it's not like it's going to empty the reservoir.
no. It will not affect the capacity of the reservoir at this time of year. It's hundreds of thousands of gallons, but it won't affect the volume held in the reservoir. Okay, that ends, I believe, city manager's reports. I think we can move on to department recommendations and anything from finance. Susie?
I just wanted to invite the community to our first step in the budget process this year as we're getting it underway. It's going to be March 2nd at 4 p.m. here in council chambers. And this workshop is geared toward providing the community a meaningful opportunity to share with the council and staff what they believe are the most important priorities for the city to tackle as we start our budget. We'll also be giving an update on the fiscal outlook at that time of the city. The comments and suggestions will be considered as we start our budget and setting our spending goals. And of course, the workshop will be followed by a special council goal setting on Saturday, March 28th at 9 a.m. at the Willits Arts Center. And I just wanted to put that out there for the community.
Thank you. Thank you. City clerk? Yes, you are. Anything from the Legal Beagle?
We have a Brown Act seminar. It's Friday, noon to 2.
Tomorrow, Friday?
Day after.
Day after tomorrow. Somebody call me.
The other Friday.
Somebody call me, please. All right, public safety, chief?
Real brief, we're still on track with our 911 upgrade. Might be a minor snafu, but hopefully we can press on. We have furniture the state has bought for it's ergonomic, and we...
How's it feel?
It's not in there yet. It's all supposed to be installed the same week as the 911 folks move over the equipment.
Oh, fun.
Actually, one of my jail cells that currently is housing the electronics stuff, and it's just kind of stacked in boxes, and it's slowly being moved out as they come up here. The other thing is on March 7th, the Veterans Foreign Wars out of Ukiah had asked us for a nominee to honor as far as an officer. I put forth Sergeant Jacob Donahue for his conduct out here with the John's Place fire. While there have been all these controversies out there in the community, or in the communities outside of us, he used good judgment. He was in a position to call for more help, manage the resources that day, and we used that force which was necessary, but we didn't have to shoot anybody.
We appreciate that a lot. Community development? I think we have anybody here to address that. Public Works and Engineering, I don't see anybody here to address that. Water and wastewater, I think we've covered it. So I think we'll go on to council and committee reports. Anything from MCOG?
MCOG did not meet. It will meet on Monday.
LAFCO?
Ditto.
Okay. MTA?
They will be meeting tomorrow here in Willits at the WISC Center. So that should be convenient for people in this area. And one of the items on the agenda is unmet needs. So if anybody out there wants to say what services are not being provided that they would like, tomorrow at 1:30.
I'd like to have a massage. MSWA,
Hasn't met since last meeting.
EDFC, we have a bystander to that now, I guess, but.
Yeah, they met a couple of weeks ago, and as I've been mentioning, on March 22nd, we're going to have John Curry, the Executive Director of EDFC, coming here to Willits. That's a Sunday at 4 o'clock to talk about the public investing opportunities in local socially, well, they call it social impact investing. It's basically things that provide jobs and that are sustainable to our economy and our environment. And so he'll be talking about opportunities for people who want to invest here in Mendocino and Lake County. It's a brand new program that EDFC has just gotten approval for.
What's the date on that again?
March 22nd at 4 o'clock. It's a Sunday. It'll be at the Grange.
Thank you.
It's being sponsored by Well. And John Curry has been very, very proactive and providing a lot of leadership in trying to promote local business and jobs. It's really exciting.
Thank you. Let's see, where do I, League, California Cities?
League has not met, and the next one is, the meeting is in Cloverdale.
On March 20th.
We did have an opportunity the other day to spend a little time with Sarah Rounds here, and I think it was educational for me anyway.
Will they be able to come and do a presentation like they have in years past about, I guess I can ask them in Cloverdale, but.
Yes, we just have to schedule that.
Yeah, I think that's valuable. League.
Water and wastewater, I think we've covered that. Revite Ed.
Did not meet.
Finance Committee is coming up now soon. Ad hoc committees, bypass project has not met. Solid Waste to Willits franchise agreement.
We're circling closer.
Good. Solar Way Array, circling
We're
away.
still working it, yeah.
Main Street improvements.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. Larry, would you like to report on that?
Yes, we met here at the little room behind the chamber here, and all of the people from Main Street, plus some of the staff from Willits City, and we mainly talked about the grants that we've applied for, and brought everybody up to date. That was essentially what happened.
Thank you. Center for the Arts, there was a meeting I was not able to
Right.
attend.
That met, I want to say on the 13th, and.
It was Friday the 13th.
It
That's
was-
nothing to do with
Came out
what
there.
happened. Ron, can you report? You were
Yeah,
there.
yeah, actually, unfortunately, the meeting was underwhelming because I think one person showed up who is associated with the Art Center. And because of that, I don't feel that anything of note was discussed, but we're still working away.
Okay, we'll try and get a better.
I'd just add a comment to that.
Sure.
This first meeting was intentionally left to a small core group of sort of stakeholders with other partner organizations in the community. And one key person was Alyssa Weir, who's the executive director for the Arts Council. And so she gave us some recommendations about moving forward, and which very much will include community-wide participation.
Yeah, we're certainly looking for community participation. Any other committee reports that I missed? So any council member reports or recommendations?
Yeah,
I have one.
Okay.
Yes, Larry.
I've been approached by two people in the community to recommend that the city try to come up with something where we can be what is called a farm community, to be self-contained, and to be able, in case something would happen, that we would be able to have the necessary supplies to take us through anything that might happen. And these two people have approached me,
And I told them that I would bring it to the council, so if anybody has any more about this, please contact me, and I'm in the phone book, or I'm at the Kimberly's Jewelry on every day.
Thank you. Holly?
I just have a couple of things. I was contacted by someone who's interested in us pursuing a transit hub near Highway 20. This gentleman has a business right next to the bus stop by Safeway. And apparently people will come there and wait all day for the bus that goes over to the coast on the evenings. And so he was suggesting a suggestion similar to one that I heard at the town hall meeting, that there be an area where RVs could park and some services and potentially an information kiosk for the city of Willits, possibly on Highway 20, the green strip. So I thought I would bring that forward. Also, I received an email about ADA compliance issues that other cities are having to deal with. I informed the person who contacted me that we do have an ADA plan, but that it really is a matter of resources, how we chip away on those projects. But she wanted me to pass that on as well. And that's it.
Okay.
I have
yes.
one other quick, and that is on March 8th, which is a week from this Sunday, there will be a forum regarding the proposed use of herbicides that Caltrans is proposing in order to basically speed up the mitigation process. They are, instead of using manual techniques to get rid of blackberries, they're talking about herbicides, and it would affect our wetlands and our community. So if people are interested in finding out more about that and other alternatives to herbicides, there will be a forum March 8th at 4 o'clock at the Little Lake Grange, and I have a couple little announcement things if anyone wants to a reminder.
Okay. Third and last call for council member reports. Good and welfare. Somehow this is substantially different from council member reports and recommendations, but I'm not quite sure what it is. But I do have something myself in good and welfare. First off is that we're doing a little, there's 2 good bluegrass shows this Friday. Don't want to have to explain how that happened, that they're right on top of each other, but just let it be said that they are. So anyway, I'm responsible for the one that's at the Willits Center for the Arts, and invite you down there. Probably you could kind of typify it as being more traditional and than what's going across town. Very good band across town. Very good. And I want to take this opportunity also to thank the papers for being so generous and helpful in promoting our project. It's a scholarship fundraiser for a Rotary project and for scholarships, and they've just done a wonderful job of promoting. I really thank you, both of the papers. So that's my good one.
I think the difference is that council member reports really should be city related, and good and welfare is,
I understand
more
that.
feel good stuff.
I
So I have
understand
something
that,
in that
but
area.
it seems like
The lines get blurred.
it's not being used that way. So
True. I had the opportunity to go to the town hall meeting where our mayor spoke, as well as our supervisor and Denise Rose, and I thought there was a lot of really good ideas put forward. It was hard to bite my tongue because I know a lot of the ideas put forward were already working on or, well underway. But I thought it was a good way for the community to get to brainstorm some of the things they'd like to see. And also, I'd heard today, speaking of the Chamber Film office, that they are filming in Fort Bragg. If we didn't have a meeting tonight, I was thinking about going over and seeing if I could peek what our stars are over there, because we know that the Need for Speed was filmed here, and another one. I know. But it really is such an asset. The film office of the Chamber really does bring in some serious dollars to Mendocino County, so I'm glad that they're doing that.
okay. We do have 2 items under closed session this evening. existing litigation between the city and the Brook Trails Township. And item B, Government Code 54956.9B, anticipated litigation, exposure to litigation. And that's all I know about that. So we'll find out. If there's any decisions made in closed session, they will be reported out into this room immediately thereafter. You're welcome to stay in that regard. It don't usually seem to come up with anything, but we'd be pleased to see you out here afterwards if you'd like to stick around. So we will recess to closed session.